Hey guys, this is Will at Third and Long. Welcome to my Week 10 College Football Playoff reaction video to the College Football Playoff poll that just came out. We had a bit of a shakeup, so let's go ahead and get started. Hit that like button and subscribe. So coming in at number 1, we have the Ohio State Buckeyes coming in at 8-0 in the AP poll. They were number 3. They deservedly so should have that number 1 spot. They are the only team with 2 top 15 wins. They've beaten Penn State. They've beaten Notre Dame. The offense is not impressive at all, but they do have the number 3 total defense in the country. Very good team, very strong resume. So the committee made that clear that they were going off of what have you done so far. This team kind of reminds me of like a 2010 LSU team. They have no quarterback, but they have Beckham and they have Jarvis Landry and a really good defense. That's kind of what the Buckeyes team is. McCord is not good, but they have a very good defense and they have one of the best wide receiver cores in the country. So they do deserve to be number 1 as of right now. Coming in at number 2, we have Georgia Bulldogs. So Georgia is 1 in the AP poll. They have the number 100th strength of schedule through week 10 of the college football season, but they have a very tough 3-game stretch coming up here. So the next 3 weeks should be pretty tough for them. If they win out, they will no doubt probably take that number 1 spot back over. But I'm fine with them being number 2 right now because they haven't beaten anyone up to this week when they will start playing some ranked teams. Coming in at number 3, we have the Michigan Wolverines, who are number 2 in the AP poll. So Michigan has the number 111th strength of schedule so far through week 10, but they have a really tough second half to that schedule. They have Penn State, they have the Buckeyes, so everything is still in front of them right now. They do have the number 1 defense in the country. They have looked like the most complete team so far this year, so a lot of room in front of them for them to potentially take that number 1 spot over. Coming in at number 4, we have Florida State, who is also 4 in the AP poll. They are kind of a flip-floppy team since they beat LSU, but this is a really good team on both sides of the ball. The last 2 to 3 weeks, they have been playing very complete, strong games. So they do deserve that number 4 spot. A lot of people have them winning the national championship, so there's definitely a lot of build-up there. And basically, they just have to win out. Do not lose any games this year, and they are in. Coming in at number 5, we have Washington, who is also 5 in the AP poll. They do have that really close win versus Oregon, so they have one of the best wins of the year. Their last 2 weekends have looked pretty sloppy versus Arizona State and versus Stanford, but nonetheless, really strong team led by Michael Penix. They will definitely score some points, and Pac-12 is tough, so they will definitely be challenged, but they're 5 right now. Coming in at number 6, who is also 6 in the AP poll, the Oregon Ducks at 7-1. They have them as the top 1-loss team, and deservedly so. This is a really good team on both sides of the ball, really good defense, and one of the best offenses in the country, a top 5 offense. They only have 1 pick and like 1 fumble the whole year. So very efficient team. They are the one team that I would not want to play right now in all of college football. And like we said before, Pac-12 is really tough. So they just have to win out and they will get in it. Coming in at 7, we have Texas Longhorns, also 7 in the AP poll. They are 7-1. Quinn Ewers is out, so they are going with Murphy at quarterback for this weekend. They have that 1 loss there, so they cannot lose again for the rest of the year, but they have one of the best wins of the year going to Tuscaloosa and beating the brakes off of Bama. They deserve to be 7, but they cannot lose again. They must get back to the Big 12 championship, and they must win out to get into the college football playoff. Coming in at 8, we have Alabama, who's also 8 in the AP poll. So they are 7-1 right now. They've been slowly moving up the ranks right now. Very good team. They have looked good on both sides of the ball, but the offense is underperforming due to Bama teams of the last few years just because they're a run-heavy team and they really have no vertical passing game. But they have a pretty good defense. They will be challenged this weekend versus LSU. Bama is Bama. If they win the SEC, they will have that potential showdown with Georgia. So they're still in it, but just like the other teams in front of them, they need to win out. But they have some tough games coming up here. Coming in at number 9, we have Oklahoma at 7-1, coming off of that loss to Kansas. They're number 10 in the AP poll. This team is going to be challenged this weekend versus Oklahoma State, who has one of the best rushing attacks in the country. Dylan Gabriel is a under-the-radar Heisman guy, but just like Texas, they need to win out. They need to have a rematch versus Texas, and they need to beat them a second time. So things are definitely tough for the Sooners to continue climbing up here, but where is their running game? They have no rushing attack. That's their biggest caveat right there. That's the thing holding them back, and their defense has been questionable the last few weeks. But they still do have one of the better wins of the year versus Texas. Coming in at 10, we have Ole Miss. So Ole Miss is 11 in the AP poll. This is a very good team under Lane Kiffin. They have Jackson Dart. They have Quinshon Judkins. So they can run. They can throw. They play solid defense. Not good defense, but solid defense. Nonetheless, a very good team here. Their one loss versus Alabama, so that is a good loss. Coming in at number 11, we have Penn State. Penn State in the AP poll is number 9, so they're a little lower here. You know, they haven't beaten anyone. And the problem with Penn State, they have a top 5 defense, but they have no vertical passing game. They have no playmakers on the outside. That's the main thing holding them back, but they still are a very good team. And Michigan, if they beat them, will be making that case for the number 1 team. Coming in at 12, we have Missouri. In the AP poll, they are 14, so they are 7-1, having a very strong year. They started the year unranked. They weren't even ranked till, 3-4 weeks ago, so they've definitely been climbing up fast. They keep winning every game. They have a showdown with Georgia this weekend, so if they somehow pull that off, they would be making a massive jump since they weren't even ranked to start the year. Coming in at 13, we have Louisville at 7-1, who is number 15 in the AP poll. Very strong year. They have that one sloppy loss there to Pitt. I don't know how that happened, but they are 7-1. They are the next highest ranked team in the ACC. I actually think they're the only other ACC team ranked besides Florida State. So that's pretty pathetic how bad the conference is this year. But they are 7-1 with a really strong win versus Notre Dame. Coming in at 14, we have LSU, who is 13 in the AP poll. They are 6-2. They have that loss versus Florida State. They have Bama this weekend. If they win, they are in control of the SEC West and to get that rematch versus Georgia in the SEC Championship. LSU, Florida State is definitely rooting for them to win this year because that's their only good win this year and potentially up to the ACC Championship, the only good win on their whole schedule. So they need that win to continue to look good and they need them to continue to do well. Coming in at 15, we have Notre Dame, who is number 12 in the AP poll. They are 7-2. They have Sam Hartman. They have Estime. They can pass. They can run. They have a very solid defense. This is not a vertical team. They're not going to let you up on the offensive side of the ball, but they play very good games, and they have 2 losses versus higher-ranked teams than them. So those are still good losses, but Notre Dame always has a tough schedule. Coming in at 16, we have Oregon State, who's also 16 in the AP poll. They are 6-2. Solid year so far this year. They won 10 games last season. This is a very strong team under DJU. They can pass, they can run. Defense is somewhat questionable some games, but they're having a very good season so far. Pac-12 is loaded top to bottom. Coming in at 17, we have Tennessee at 6-2. They are 19 in the AP poll. So they're 6-2 here. They are challenging for the SEC East. Tennessee, under Joe Milton, the offense is not going to light you up like teams of the past. They can't really throw the ball. They're very inaccurate short passes. They are more of a run-heavy team with a decent to high average defense as of right now, but they definitely deserve to be ranked where they are. I've been saying the whole year this is about an 18-20 team. Coming in at 18, we have Utah, who's also 18 in the AP poll. They are 6-2, having a very solid year, considering that Cam Rising has not played the whole year and will probably redshirt this year. But very strong team. They have a atrocious offense, but they have a very good defense, very good special teams. Kyle Whittingham is one of the most underrated coaches in the country. Coming in at 19, we have UCLA at 6-2. They're 20 in the AP poll. So UCLA, 6-2, very good defense. They're kind of going back and forth between 2 quarterbacks on offense, but it really doesn't matter because the team looks the same. Defense is shutting people down, getting a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks. So props to Chip Kelly for having a very strong defensive team. Coming in at 20, we have USC at 7-2. They are 24 in the AP poll, so they're a little higher here. They're 7-2. They have Washington this weekend. That's going to be a tough game. 2 of the best quarterbacks in the country teeing off. One of them, the defending Heisman champ. So this is going to be a fun game. Pac-12 schedule is so tough. Their defense is pathetic. Had they had an average defense, they would be undefeated and probably 1 or 2 right now. But they can't stop anyone. It's awful. Alex Grinch should be fired. But still, one of the best offensively talented teams in the country. Coming in at 21, we have Kansas, who's 22 in the AP poll. They are 6-2, having a very strong year coming off of that win versus Oklahoma. Even with their quarterback out, they are just running the ball down people's throats. Coming in at 22, Oklahoma State. They're not ranked in the AP poll, but I said on my AP video, they definitely should be. They are 6-2. Started the year really sloppy, but they are on a long winning streak right now, and they are running the ball on RB1. So I can't wait to see them play the Sooners. That game is a toss-up. Coming in at 23, we have Kansas State at 6-2. They are number 25 in the AP poll. So Kansas State, again, having a really tough year. They could be 7-1, but Missouri made that 65-yard field goal to clinch that game. They are the Big 12 defending champs. So they definitely should be ranked as of right now. They're putting together a pretty strong year. Coming in at 24, we have Tulane, who's 21 in the AP poll. They are 7-1. They're lone loss versus Ole Miss, and they didn't even have Pratt that game, and they barely lost it. So they could have been undefeated right now. But they're still having a pretty good year since they lost a lot of pieces on their 12-2 team from last year. Coming in at 25, we have Air Force. Air Force on the AP is 17, so they're a lot lower here on the college football playoff poll. They are undefeated. They're making sure that if they run the table, there is no conversation for them getting into the playoffs. That's why they dropped them all the way down there. But they could potentially run the table this year, go 12-0, having a very strong year. So that's my breakdown of the Week 10 first college football playoff poll that's come out for the 2023 college football season. Hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks.